Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Sports Week. Delighted to have your company. The main talking points on tonight's programme. Craig Levein is targeting a young coach to replace Robbie Neilson. Rangers are on the hunt for a new midfielder, and Aberdeen are hoping to end a 25-year wait for a win at Ibrox tomorrow. And that's just a few of the talking points in the company of Gordon Smith and Hugh McDonald. No truth whatsoever in the fact that Hugh has it in his contract that he won't work with Ruffy again. I mean, it's just not in there, Hugh. Ruffy's...
well, not yet.
Well, absolutely. It's in Ruffy not with us for the next week. I'm sure you'll survive without him. So we've got lots to talk about. I mean, there's so many great sports stories over the course of the next hour. Hopefully you'll stay with us. You can interact as well at Peter and Ruffy and facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy. Craig Levein, first of all, of course, Robbie Neilson. Everybody was waiting to see when he was actually going to leave Tynecastle, and we just waited there with a camera just to catch a glimpse of him at some point, and eventually we did. There he is. I mean, he obviously didn't want to actually get to speak to anyone, but Robbie Neilson off to MK Dons. I'm not sure that's even Robbie's car, but nevertheless,
that is his coat though.
Yeah, absolutely. You thought he would have taken all that stuff with him, but he decided to go. Craig Levein didn't want to be critical of the fact that he decided to go to a League One side.
Robbie's you probably knows, a very logical person, and he explained to me that he felt, he has always said he wanted to manage in top level down in England, and he explained that he felt that if he could go down to England in a good stable job and do a good job there, that then he would have a better chance of getting a higher level club, and he saw that as his pathway. Whether I agree with him or not is almost irrelevant. I don't want to be disrespectful to MK Dons at all, because they've got a bigger stadium than us, and they've got the potential to be a good team. So, but I mean, he goes with my best wishes. I've got a lot of admiration for him. On a personal level, I really like him. He's a good guy, and is the amount of work that he put in here to help get us back to the position that we should be. I'll be eternally grateful.
Okay, he didn't want to offer any opinion on it and be highly critical of it, but if you read between the lines, he doesn't agree with what Robbie Neilson's doing, Hugh.
Yeah, and that's understandable, isn't it? It's understandable. He'll rate Hearts as higher than MK Dons, and so he should. He's director of football there. But I might be, I'm talking to fellow journalists, and I might be, in the minority here. But I think it's a great move for Robbie Neilson. I think MK Dons is a good pathway for him. I think he's getting into the English game at as stable a club as it can be. They're not a sacking club. They're a club going forward. And frankly, Scottish football, I always go back to the line, Neil Lennon beat Barcelona and he got Bolton Wanderers. There's not a great love or respect for the game in England for managers up here.
Well, I think from your answer, I'm going to take the salient point there. I think a lot of journalists are of the same viewpoint as you. I think it's a great move for him. It's a chance to extend his financial capabilities. First and foremost, that's why people want to go to England. I mean, you go there and you can make a lot of money if you manage to get first club success onto the second. I look at Paul Lambert, Wickham, then Norwich on again, and you end up in a situation where you're set up for life, God. I mean, I know he's got football ambitions, but he's set up financially if he gets one off, if he gets another move away from Milton Keynes Dons to a big club.
I agree with you, but I think he's initially is football ambition, because the money comes with it if you get it right at that level. I think that's why he's going to MK Dons. A lot of people might wonder, Hearts fans will think about it, but I think what I've heard as my information is that a club with about 3 times the financial resources in terms to spend that Hearts have. That's even in League One. We've already seen the big gulf there is in for players' wages and all that. And Robbie Neilson's gone down there in order to take I think they're 8 points from in a playoff position just now. If he can get them going and get them in the league, then he'll get a great deal of credibility from it. And from there, as you said, Paul Lambert was a good example. You move on, and eventually you've got your opportunity to do it. But I know he's someone who works very, very hard at it. He basically spends all his time about how he's going to do. He goes out to games all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he works really hard, and I think that shows you he's got ambition. He wants to do well, Peter.
Yeah, you certainly won't have the fanatical support. From the Hearts fans. Hearts are coming out in great numbers, 16,000 at Tynecastle. MK Dons is a different kettle of fish, Hugh. They just cannot build up a fanatical support in that area.
Yeah, particularly given their background as well, and how the club was formed. I think, though, that everything you don't get, unless Pep Guardiola or even at one time Mourinho, but that's not even now, you don't get your pick of jobs. And there'll be any job that Robbie would be offered, there'd be upsides and there'd be downsides. I mean, it'd be simple as that. I mean, we saw, going back to the Neil Lennon thing, Neil got a championship club, but a championship club in real problems, real troubles.
Over 150 million in debt.
And he just had to say, well, it's championship, it's the best I'm going to get. So they're sitting down and they've got to meet. But I think the big points for him, the big plus points would be stable club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well. He's obviously been told in the talks what his budget might be. And the other great point is, if you're an ambitious man, and I think one thing I've tried to do in life, even myself, without even being ambitious, is to say yes to things. To say, well, why not? Why do that? If somebody comes to you and says, do you want to be such and such? Well, why not? Let's have a go.
He's also, Hugh, maybe, I think another point is maybe looking at it and thinking, right, what can I do with Hearts? And maybe he has achieved, other than maybe win the cup or something, he's probably achieved with Hearts as much as he can.
I agree with
do. You know what I mean?
Apart from a cup.
Apart from a cup. I mean, he's leaving now. It was a very good performance on Wednesday night. I watched the game and they were excellent, and that's a sign that he's got them going. But he's thinking, well, we're second place, but we're not going to challenge for the league. No. We maybe get back in Europe again. So I think that he's looking at to say, well, okay, I'm moving on. Craig Levein said a younger person in and all that, but the thing about it is that he said he's not quite sure how he'll do. He doesn't necessarily agree with him, because Craig Levein did the same thing. He went down to England, didn't quite work out. You take one of our top managers up here as well, Derek McInnes has had a go too, didn't work out. So
yeah, but I think the pertinent point here is what Hugh mentioned there. They're not a sacking club.
No.
And sometimes I think the biggest problem is when the manager gets down there, they're promised the world, and then all of a sudden, it doesn't materialise.
We've got that situation just the other day there with Kenny Jackett at Rotherham taking over from Subs. Obviously, reading between the lines there.
5 games he lasted.
But reading between the lines there, perhaps what was said in the talks didn't come to fruition afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Another point that I picked up on there, Hugh, is the fact that you gone into a phase of your life where you just say yes to everyone, which is, we were amazed, Gordon, when he'd agreed to join us, but we didn't know that he was going to say yes to every other broadcaster and newspaper that's going as well. That's another point. As far as a replacement for Robbie Neilson, Craig Levein was quick to point out the criteria.
Well, it hasn't changed from from Robbie, really. We're looking for a young, intelligent, energetic, enthusiastic coach who can help us move on from where we are, and that's the key for us to try and get somebody in who can improve us.
Okay, Ian Cathruth seems to be the red-hot favourite on this. Is he the red-hot favourite because he's the right man for the job, or is he the red-hot favourite because, one, Craig Levein knows him, and two, Craig Levein is, in effect, the power behind this whole thing?
Yeah, and all that thing goes back to point A, he's the right man for the job, because that's what they want. I mean, Craig Levein wants. He's director of football, so he wants somebody who reports to him. And Gordon will know more about this than me, but there's a direct chain of command there, and Craig Levein is still the boss.
Yeah, and again, the reason why I'm asking that question is, does he have to be, picking someone who will follow his line rather than, mentioned Stephen Presley or Paul Hartley. They are very strong-willed people. They're not likely to kowtail to anybody saying, I don't like the way you're going with it.
That's when I think you ruled out a lot of people. As soon as he said the word young was the first word he used there.
Yeah.
When he described all the talents that are required, he said young. I don't know why you would specifically say young for a football manager, because a lot of the guys that are good in their job are not young, but he said it, so it looks like what he's more or less saying is, unlike a lot of the clubs, this is a coach they're looking for. It's not really a manager. It's just a coach. They're looking for somebody that takes the team, and Craig Levein, as the director of football, he's there running the football side of things, other than picking the team on a Saturday and setting the tactics. That's down to the coach.
Very much a continental model. That's what happens. He coaches the team. He puts out tells who's wearing what bib, where the cones are going, and what they're going to do that day.
That's it.
Okay. From Craig Levein and the potential successor to Robbie Neilson, we'll move on to a massive game tomorrow. It's taking place at Ibrox. Rangers against Aberdeen. The Rangers manager could come under intense pressure if he doesn't win this one against the Dons. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Sports Week. Gordon Smith and Hugh McDonald are here with me in the studio, from Hearts looking for a new manager to Rangers with a manager that I think, slowly but surely, I can hear rumblings of discontent, lads. I wonder if you share my view on this. I'm getting slightly cynical when we start to see stories of an exciting midfielder going to be signed. That's what I call fantastic PR spin on this. I think... let's be blunt about it. I mentioned it at the start of the season, and I haven't changed my opinion on it. All the spin about Mark Warburton means nothing until he does something in the Premiership. I've always thought that Rangers have to progress and try and finish top four, and I think people are now starting to look closely at what he's doing. The signings, the style of football, suddenly it's all coming under close scrutiny here, Gordon. Yeah,
I think the top four is acceptable and expected. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but I think a lot of people were looking to say, where are they in relation to Celtic? And at the moment, they are just among the other three teams down in the second spot, well away from Celtic. No chance of challenging them, really. The league's going to be sewn up pretty quickly this season, there's no doubt about it. So I think what he's getting judged on is like what Rangers, because the spend is greater than anybody else, and he's getting judged on the football that's getting played and how Rangers are competing against the other teams in the league. And so far at this stage, and as I say, it's harsh to judge somebody as quickly as this, but you have to give an opinion on it, and you have to say it has to improve. And we did say that these three games that were coming up that Rangers had, and one of them was Wednesday night. We said it before Wednesday night. We said that the next three games will be crucial in terms of a judgment on how Mark Warburton is taking things forward. Yeah,
Gordon, expectation and reality are two different things. I could write you down a list of people, journalists, who actually suggested Rangers were going to win the league.
Aye, absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I was stunned about that at the beginning of the season. I mean, I've talked to fellow journalists, and they were saying, you go, well, especially after the appointment of Rodgers, you said, well, whatever you can think about Brendan Rodgers, a proper manager. I mean, that's a guy that nearly won the league with Liverpool, the EPL with Liverpool, so he's going to come. Yeah. The very fact that he's coming means he's going to get a bit of financial muscle. He actually hasn't used his financial muscle at all, apart from, I mean, Dembele was cheap, Toure was a free, Gambo was cheap, and I mean, Sinclair is the one that he spent like 3.5, 4 million on. But I was amazed at that, and the real expectation at the beginning of the season were people saying, I was amazed that journalists were buying into it, because I wasn't amazed that fans were buying it, because Gordon and we're all of a generation that know that you can moan and groan and shout and ball it. Rangers are judged against Celtic, and Celtic are judged against Rangers. That's what will happen. Time immemorial. You could say to fans at the beginning of the season, calm down, we're not there yet, give us 3 years. Yeah, they're not going to say. No.
Yeah, absolutely, Hugh, but the problem right now is Rangers fans are looking and thinking, are we going to beat Hearts? Yes. Are we going to beat Aberdeen? This is the point now, because they're now starting to say, and this is where I think the tipping point has come. Wait a minute, you're not picking Waghorn, why not? Barton was a mistake. That can happen. Midfield area, is there enough creativity in there? They're starting to look at the players that are being picked.
Yes. No doubt about it. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a whole load of factors, and it's all down to its results. First and foremost, I said after Wednesday night, I said there's two main aspects in any game, and one is the result, next one's the performance. Now, in terms of looking at Wednesday night from Rangers' point of view, they were both very poor. The result was bad, losing against Hearts, the team who was below them, 3 points below them in the league, who have now gone above them. But there was the performance was dreadful. And what you're judging then is like, wait a minute, who stands out in that team? Why were we totally outplayed by Hearts? Now they've got Aberdeen tomorrow. Now they've got Hearts next Saturday. Both games at home, to be fair. But I think, actually, fun enough, I actually think that puts them under more pressure. I actually maybe would wonder if they'd be more comfortable playing away than they will be at Ibrox, because see if it's not going well in these games, they're going to feel the brunt of the fans, the reaction to that.
Well, of course, he justified some of the squad that he's rotating around at the moment by quite simply suggesting that it's all about the squad to try and get the results and try and change some that don't go his way.
Hear this about, 1 minute one guy says about consistency, then another guy says you need to change it and chop it, and Joe scored 2 goals, he must be in, and why we drop Joe Garner? It's not dropping, it's using our squad, and we've got heavy games on heavy pitches, coming thick and fast, Wednesday, Saturday, etc. So it's using the squad. I've got no reservations about using Waggy, Joe Dodu, Joe Garner, Kenny Miller, Michael Halloran, Harry Forrester, Barry Mackay. No reservations whatsoever. And we've shown that all season. The players that absolutely need to know that we trust them 100%, which we do. So whichever 11 we pick, I'm happy with it.
He's getting a little tetchy in press conferences at the moment, trying to justify his team, Hugh.
Well, he'll be stunned by the pressure that he's under. I mean, even having had a year in the Championship, he'll be. I remember speaking to Gordon Strachan when he just came to Celtic, who'd known Scottish football, who'd been about Scottish football, who was a leading player in Scottish football, who'd managed an EPL club, and he couldn't go over. He says, the pressure at Celtic. He says, I've got to do it 4 press conferences every Friday. He was amazed. And this was a guy who knows Scottish football. So he'll be under real pressure now, because he knows. There's no reason to go into hyperbole about this, but the next 2 games could define his, his career. If he loses badly to Aberdeen and Hearts, the klaxon is really. I thought the klaxon was sounding last Saturday, but it was only a drill. But if you're losing 1-0 to Partick Thistle, I was going. The natives are getting very restless. Our transfer window coming up, where there might not be many funds either. He's under real pressure.
I thought these games were crucial because, as I say, that Rangers in the 2 previous games they came through with late winners, and you think, well, they're not in the best of form. They've won the games, but they didn't play really well. And yet, but Wednesday night they were very poor. And now they've got an Aberdeen team. Now, if Aberdeen win tomorrow, Aberdeen go ahead of Rangers with 2 games in hand, and Aberdeen's next 3 games are home games. Aberdeen have got 3 home games in a row. So you look at that gulf could grow then. So that tomorrow is a crucial game. Matt Warburton needs a result tomorrow to calm things down.
Yeah, I don't think Brian Grant thought he would still be one of the scorers in the game the last time Aberdeen actually won at Ibrox. I'm not fooled into listening to any of the hyperbole around Aberdeen either, because I think the cracks have come from the League Cup final itself, and performances where you can't get down to Hamilton and lose. I'm sorry, so their credentials for me are under close scrutiny as well. And again, you've got a manager suddenly making excuses before a ball's kicked. Here's Derek McInnes.
It was much anticipated, certainly from our supporters that day. A full house, and but it passes without real instinct. And when the talking point really was James Maddison's magnificent free kick, and that's hopefully what we're talking about, the football at the end of it, and hopefully we're talking about another 3 points for Aberdeen. And that's what we're aiming to do. I feel as though the players should expect and will expect a tough game, and get into an intimidating atmosphere like that is part of growing up and dealing with what we need to deal with. So I still want us to go there and be brave and play our game as well.
Okay, they've got to be brave. Over and above that, he still has, the Dons manager, Rangers favourites to finish second.
Aware of the strengths of Rangers. I think they've got a strong squad, good options, and you'd always respect a team who have come up from the Championship, done very well so far this season. I think that Mark's done a fantastic job with the team. You might be looking for one or two more from his recruitment, same as we all are. We don't get everyone right as managers, but I think it's still very early on in the season to be judging teams and managers and all the rest of it. And I think you'll find that I think Rangers will be favourites to finish second, based on maybe the players that they've got and what they can do in January. But I certainly feel my team is good enough to finish second, and then we aim to try and do that.
Am I expecting too much of Derek McInnes? I'd like him to be more aggressive. I would like him to adopt a Fergie attitude up there.
Yeah, I know. I think I agree, and I think I think he got out of jail with the game last week, because all the criticism was on the players didn't turn up, the players didn't do this, the players didn't, and he sort of alluded to the players, and you go, well, wait a minute, you're the manager. It's your players.
Yeah.
You picked a team. You went into motivation. I thought I wasn't as critical as a lot of people were about Aberdeen last week, because I just think Celtic are far superior. But he's got a responsibility as well. The interesting thing I thought about there was, Warburton's doing a great job, but he didn't get everyone right, and he's talking about his recruitment, and that's what will be hanging around Warburton's neck as well. Has he brought a player into the club that's outstanding?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
I can understand what you said there, Peter.
Yeah, listen. I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you on that, Gordon. We're going to have a quick break, and then we'll debate some other big games as well. Not only Hibs against Dundee United, but some of the big games tomorrow across all four divisions. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Sports Week. Rangers take on Aberdeen. We've looked at that match. There are some really tasty games to look forward to as well. Motherwell against Celtic. This is a game where, again, similar to what Mark Warburton has mentioned with Rangers, Brendan Rodgers is looking, and up until the Rangers game coming up, Celtic have no fewer than 8 games in December, and no surprise the Celtic manager says he's going to rotate that squad as well.
Think of the number of games you play over the course of the season to have that many. I think it's 8 league and 1 cup game. What it is, it's a brilliant opportunity for us to accumulate a lot more points. That's the focus. Tough games for us, like you say, with every 2 to 3 days you're playing. But we've got a good squad here, and they'll all be needed, and that's why it's important to ensure that everyone in the squad feels a part of what we're doing, that we're very much unified, and because we'll need that squad in particular over this December period. I think every coach or manager would say it's a tough ask to play that many games in that period of time. But if it's what's presented to you, then you have to deal with it. And so it's, of course, we've got a backlog of some games. We have a final Champions League game to play. But we won't moan. We just deal with it and get on with it. And again, it'll provide us with the opportunity to work our squad, and all the players will be ready and fit to play.
9 games in December, and quite a lot of good players to call on in that squad.
Yeah, we were talking earlier about you were feeling Derek McInnes was a bit sort of almost negative about it. I mean, immediately he talks about 9. He's great. His actual quote is brilliant opportunity having the 9 games. He's on the front foot right away. Yeah. Let's rotate a squad. I mean, you look at the squad as well. I mean, just off the top of the head, you've got Gamboa, Henderson, Griffiths hasn't started lately, Mackay, Stephen, Toure and Boyata haven't started. Shifty, remember him?
Yep.
And people will start laughing, oh, Shifty, but Shifty would get a game for most SPFL clubs, and Ryan Christie as well. So, apart from Tierney and Sinclair coming back as well, that's an awful lot of people to add to the mix for a cup winning team,
Yeah, I think that a lot of them they want to play every week anyway. I mean, one of the things when I was a player, I didn't want to be rested. If I had even 9 games in a month, I'd want to play in as many as I could, because you want to stay in the team, you want to play, and their training will be cut right down. So there's no reason to why they cannot perform there. The only problem you get is if you get injuries and things like that. But Celtic are a really good squad of players anyway. As Hugh says, they've got so much competition for places there that there'll be guys waiting for their chance to get in. And one of the aspects we talked about earlier on about management, you can already see that there was people who were at this club who weren't rated as such, and Brendan Rodgers is getting a lot more out of them. No. Now, Mackay Stevens has just come back into the squad. Now, he was a player that was already written off, as Armstrong was. Stuart Armstrong was written off as not good enough. Mackay Stevens, I'm interested to see. I bet he is a different player now if he comes back into the setup.
But that's the classic thing with Rodgers. I mean, everybody's saying now he's bought quite shrewdly, and even I mentioned earlier on he's got a bit of financial muscle. But the team... The team that won the cup, the team that's been producing great results, has only really had two changes, isn't it? It's Dembele and Sinclair. And then, of course, when they won the cup last week, Sinclair was injured. I mean, that was a Ronnie Dyler team.
It was.
Yeah. Can I ask you this, though, Hugh? Will they go through the entire season unbeaten? Can you see that happening?
I could see it happening. I wouldn't bet on it, but I could see it happening. I think they're miles better than anybody else. But I just think that at time, there's always one Saturday, or one Wednesday night that things can. Strangely enough, I thought at Ross County they were a bit, and they ended up winning 4-0. But there's times at Ross County when Ross County were doing well. But yeah, I could see why people say they'll go through the season unbeaten. But yes, I wouldn't bet on it.
Well, I'll tell you why I asked that, Gordon, because Brendan Rodgers obviously been going out speaking to supporters as well and explaining the blueprint and the way ahead. And as Hugh alluded to earlier on in the programme, he still hasn't really started his own recruitment. He wants to thin the squad down of people who are maybe just actually taking wages. So there'll be players going out in January, and he wants to again bring in his own style of player.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the right way to do it, because you've got a style of play as a manager that you think's a success, and if the team is playing successfully in that style, then he's looking to have somebody. What you want really in that respect is the substitutes are all people that fit in with the ones that are there. So it's not as if when you have to bring a sub on, you change the system. You want people who can do the job and they're competing against the other player in order to be in the team. So I can see totally why he's doing that.
And the great thing about that, the greatest illustration of that was when Sinclair gets injured, everybody says, that's a chance for Griffiths. And you go, well, not if Brendan Rodgers sticks to his template, isn't? Because he won't just bring in Griffiths because Sinclair's it. He'll bring a wide player, and that's what he did. He brought in Roberts.
Yes.
So I think as well, Peter, that they'll spend in the transfer window.
Yeah, can I ask you this then? I'd asked Gordon yesterday. Dembele, if Liverpool offer 20 million, is it goodbye Musa?
No, I think they'll keep him politically.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they'll keep him. I think they'll keep him at least. There's no reason to sell him, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's an accruing asset. His contract is not running. Everybody's contract's running down, but it's not running down to critical levels.
Yes.
He's 20 years of age. He's only going to get better. They have no financial need to sell him. The manager, if they did sell him, it's putting the manager's nose out of joint as well. It's putting the fans' nose out of joint. They've got plenty of money, and they've got the Champions League qualifiers to look forward to. I'd be really surprised if they would sell him.
Yeah.
Really shocked.
It'd just be like Celtic to see Virgil van Dijk go for 50 million and they get a cut of that as well.
Yeah. There's talk about, what is it, 5 million they get if he goes for 50.
Yeah.
So I mean, but he's played really well, Van Dijk, just now. I mean, even going to Arsenal during the week and having a clean sheet, and he's very highly rated in England. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a look at the fixtures for Saturday afternoon. Don't forget you can join us at 2 o'clock on Saturday on STV. 4 hours will keep you up to date with all the goals, all the action. Gordon Smith, Des McKeown and Ian Durrant will be our guests to take us through the afternoon. Motherwell Celtic is the 12:15. Hamilton against Partick Thistle, Kelly Dundee, Rangers Aberdeen, Ross County against Hearts and St Johnstone against Inverness. A couple of points there that I want to talk about. I mean, statistics, we love throwing them up there for everybody to digest, especially yourself, Gordon. But I looked at Hamilton against Partick Thistle. It's such a huge game. There's only 1 point between them.
Yeah.
Hamilton, apparently, Gordon, haven't lost a game in 8. But when you start to look at it, you think, okay, you've won 1, you've lost 1, and you've drawn 6.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they have been drawing a lot of games. And I also pointed out on Saturday, and we all had a guess at it when I said, who's the only team that hasn't won away? And it's Hamilton. They haven't won an away game, but even at home they're getting a lot of draws. They're a good side, but I mean the thing about it is there's nobody under any pressure can't beat the bottom of the league, because the 7 teams separated by 2 points I think is astonishing. I can't think of a league. I'm going to check it before the weekend just to see if there is a league anywhere else in the world that's got that. The more than half the bottom teams are actually separated by 2 points.
I can't see it.
I can't think they would be.
Yeah, I'm glad you're checking that. Hugh and myself, we're going out. It's a Friday. I mean, honestly,
No,
I think
I would do my
check
stats.
that. Yeah,
I would do my
absolutely.
stats.
That's fantastic, Gordon. That's the difference between you and me. I've got my stats, but I'm not staying in on a Friday night, Hugh. Come on. I mean, honestly, you've got to have a connection with the punters.
With life, even.
That's the other line I was looking for. Listen, I'm only winding you up. Couple of points here. On the Premiership before we start looking at the other games in the other leagues. The Tulloch Stadium, I don't know if you've been aware of this, but Tulloch, who own 3 of the stands, have offered this to Inverness as a gesture. This is a £6 million gesture. That's yours, you can have it.
Marvellous. It's great. I mean, the goodwill for clubs amongst, I mean, we see it, we saw it at Motherwell where people came in and gave money, businessmen came in and gave money and made donations. There's a great love of football in Scotland. I think it still remains a wee bit untapped, actually. I think better marketing people might be able to get into it, but it's a great gesture. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. And one other thing that I was going to get your thoughts on, Gordon, before we go into the next part of the programme. Apparently the FA asked Gareth Southgate, before he was confirmed as the England manager, to go and see a psychologist. I mean, where are we going? Where are we going to make sure everybody's a fit and proper person?
Was it to look at himself? No,
you've got to be mad to work here.
I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, the problem is they're going to dismantle him. They'll dismantle this England manager.
I know. It's amazing to think. I mean, have they got some sort of idea in mind what the psychology of an England manager should be then? What's the correct, background or the correct thoughts process? Who knows what it is?
Yeah, I can explain exactly what's going to happen to Gareth, just to help him out over the next couple of years. There'll be a newspaper sting. If he survives that, there'll obviously be the hyper-criticism of one of his most talented players. They'll ask for him to be dropped. And then over and above that, they'll be hypercritical even when they qualify easily for the World Cup. Whereupon he'll be expected to lift that World Cup. His hair will go grey. And then maybe, just maybe, he'll get them to a semi-final and they'll start to like him again. I've been in that movie before, Hugh. It's as simple as that. Okay, if I've oversimplified the England job, maybe you could write into us and tell us what might happen to him. After the break, we're going to talk about a world champion who's chucked it. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's Sports Week. Queen of the South have a new manager, Gary Naismith. They've waited a while, but I think they've got a good man.
I think it's a good move for both the club and the manager. I think this will be a good challenge for Gary. I think Queen of the South desperately, obviously needed somebody in quick. They'll be looking at the result against Albion Rovers this week, and there's a great revenue opportunity missed amongst everyone else. But Gary Naismith's a good manager, already proven in Scottish football, and a good move going forward. I
mean, not that I think there's a need to start throwing stones at them, but should we be critical of the board that they maybe should have moved a little bit quicker than they did?
I think they'll be looking at themselves and thinking maybe if we had somebody in place, the game at Albion Rovers might have turned out differently. And then you're talking about you're not talking about season-changing money, you're talking about a couple of season-changing money. I mean, that's how big the budget is. So I think there'll be some self-recrimination there, but they've just got to go on right now, and they've got the right man, I think.
Yep, absolutely. So from Queen of the South to the Championship itself, of course, Dundee United against Hibernian Gordon. I think it's healthy when you're getting close to a sellout for a game like this tonight.
Oh, it definitely is. I mean, a few years ago we wouldn't have imagined this was ever going to be a championship match, those two teams playing each other. But I think it's going to be a good game. I think that looking forward to it, I did believe Hibs would be comfortable winners of the league, but I've seen of the form recently, Dundee United are on a run, and this is a test, I think, tonight, is to see who ultimately is going to be challenging there. And if Dundee United get the win tonight and do well, then it's going to be a two-horse race, really. I think the two of them will be fighting it out. But if Hibs can get the win and take themselves even further clear, then it looks like, you know, most of us who predicted Hibs to win it will be right. But it's going to be a tough game for them.
Yeah, well, never has a month been so important to lots of clubs in the Premiership and in the Championship. A January transfer window where you could bring in players that could make a difference to your season. And Neil Lennon's already on the hunt for new players.
With John McGinn being out for a length of time, and it looks like Fraser, Alex Harris is out as well now. So we definitely need to add to the squad. So yeah, we've been working on a few things over the last couple of weeks. Maybe to add to the squad now on an emergency loan. We've made some inquiries for players there, but definitely in January we'll look to strengthen. Well, we've had reassurances that we'll be able to add to the squad, yes. So again, we work within a parameter of financial security. I'm aware of that. So that's the bracket that we're looking in, that type of player. So, but if you never know, in January the club were able to bring Anthony Stokes in, which surprised a lot of people. So you just never know. But I think there will be funds available. Yes.
He's already been linked with Danny Swanson. I mean, I read a couple of names as well that surprised me, with Osman from Everton and also Jermaine Pennant. I mean, if you signed them, I think it would be certainly start almost in that division, Hugh.
Absolutely. I mean, Pennant comes with the kind of baggage that looks like Barton's only carrying a knapsack. You know, I mean, that's, but Osman is if you could get. I mean, Osman's a really good pro. And he would have to take a incredible reduction. Yeah. And he says, but Swanson, I think, Swanson would be fantastic. I mean, I really rate him as a player, you know, and in that division he would be outstanding, you know.
Yeah. To be fair, Gordon, I mean, at the end of the day, you'd want to take a cut. You've got fantastic restaurants. There's a castle. It's romantic at Christmas time. What more could you ask for?
You can't go to restaurants if you take a big cut. That's
well, I think he's made his money before he even contemplates Hibs, to be honest with you.
But I mean, the big thing, I mean, obviously, I think the way Neil's talking there, there's going to be recruitment in January for them, and that's why that if he can get himself in a position where he's already got a lead in the league, then it'll be a lot more comfortable to make those signings. But if they're struggling a wee bit, then a wee bit of panic sets in, doesn't it?
And the thing about McKinnon as well, McKinnon's had a tilt at this last year with Wraith Rovers, where they were brilliant towards the end. They weren't playing great, but they were just... He knows what it was taking to win. They were just winning. Yeah. So Dundee United might not just go away. That's the thing. I think Hibs will have to win it. If you see what I mean, I think McKinnon is such a pragmatic manager that even if they didn't get the result tonight, they'll still keep nagging away.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a look at the Championship fixtures on offer, as well as Dundee United against Hibernian on the Friday night. It's Dunfermline Ayr United, Falkirk against St Mirren, Queen of the South against Dumbarton, and Wraith Rovers against Morton, which should also be a cracker when you consider the job that Gary Locke and Dan Jackson are doing at Wraith Rovers, and Jim Duffy at Morton is just, well, tearing it up at the moment. I think the Morton fans can't believe how well they're performing. Here's League One for you. Don't forget, you can join us on Saturday at 2, and we'll keep you up to date with all the goals. That's the fixtures on offer in League One, and then in League Two on the Saturday we will keep you up to date with the games. Arbroath, Edinburgh, Berwick, Stirling, Cowdenbeath against Clyde, Elgin Montrose and Forfar against Annan Athletic. So, and let's not forget also, we will keep you up to date with the Premier League in England as well. Small matter of Manchester City against Chelsea. Mouth-watering to say the least, because you've got two great managers there, Hugh.
And I think they're the two teams now, you know, that will probably contest the final with a wee the final. We've got, you know, the championship with maybe a wee sort of sneaking suspicion that Liverpool might keep going, particularly because they've got no Europe, but Chelsea have no Europe either. So absolutely fantastic, a fantastic match tomorrow, and in many ways the managers are the story in England this season, because they're getting the best coaches in the world now, and there's even talk that they might even get the best players in the world, because Neymar, Manchester United sort of sniffing very heavily around Neymar at the moment.
Isn't it amazing? We're talking about Manchester City and Chelsea and United. You know, even with Mourinho as the manager, still a bit to go before they're even seriously considered.
This has been inconsistent. They're out of it, Peter. But I agree with you. I think that it's looking more and more now with just Liverpool, just maybe an outsider for it. I thought Arsenal would be too, but they got a bad result during the week. They're losing at home to Southampton. But Man City and Chelsea look the two strong sides, and I think they'll be fine out definitely for the league title. Okay,
from football, we're going to switch our attention to, amazingly, I think it might be the first time that we've spoken about it on Sports Week, Formula One. I must admit, I watch it with interest. I'm not a huge fan of it at times over the last 5 or 6 years, Hugh. Mercedes are dominating, and then eventually we get this climax between Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. Rosberg in the end wins it, and then a few days later decides, stuns everybody, today that's me, thank you very much, 31 years of age, I'm the world champion, I'm retiring.
Yeah, a very strange one in many ways, until you actually sort of maybe read between the lines of his statement, where he's talking an awful lot about his wife and how he never saw much of his daughter, and his wife had to take all the parental responsibilities, and now with a modern man, of course, and quite rightly, I think, wanting to get more involved in the children. And he was talking very much about the pressure towards the end, and that he wasn't. I think the suspicion was that the pressure was really getting to him, and maybe affecting his health. I always say, in any sport, walk away when you're not enjoying it. But particularly in this sport, where staying on can have really bad consequences. This is a very dangerous sport. Thankfully, it's not been extremely dangerous from the days that we remember, Senna, etc. But yeah, good on him. If he feels he's going out the top, that's the way to go, and he'll never need to work again, of course.
Yeah, it's one of those great sports. I mean, they're now speculating what he's going to do. I mean, I'll tell you what he's going to do. He's going to sit trackside with a microphone and still just, enjoy it.
Absolutely, and as you said, I mean, you can't have anything better than going out at the top of your sport. I mean, Lewis Hamilton's been marvellous. I think he actually won more races, didn't he?
Did, yeah, 10-9,
yeah. Than Rosberg won. But at the end of the day, Rosberg's got the points and he's got the money, and he's just decided that's it.
Yeah, we're living in strange times in the rugby world. Gregor Townsend, as a coach, highly respected in the game, he was offered the chance to go with the British Lions, and he turned it down.
I don't want to go into too much depth, obviously, to be approached. What was great, and I'm sure Warren will talk about his coaching staff next week, so I'll leave him to talk about more details. It's a case of timing. I've feel hugely privileged to have been given the Scottish coaching job, and our first opportunity to work with the players is at the same time the Lions tour's going on, so I'm looking forward to that. Obviously I had a good think. I didn't give an immediate answer, and I really wanted to reflect on what was involved, but quickly realised that the Scotland tour to Australia is my number one priority at the end of this season. I mean, I think at international level you don't get that much access with the players, so this is the most access you'll get on a tour, getting to work with them, preparing for games, spending time with them.
Great player. Great standing as a coach now in the game as well.
A real coming coach, and I understand why he thought about that decision, but he's came to the right decision.
Yep, okay. Thanks to Hugh McDonald. It was short, it was sharp, but it was straight to the point. And at the end of the programme, all that remains for me to say is thanks to Hugh and Gordon. Join us at 2 o'clock tomorrow if you can. Good night.